Liquid's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Radiant team pick.
I speak for the trees.
Team Liquid's turn to pick.
Hello everybody and welcome to some more WePlay. This is the deciding match for Europe. We've got Team Liquid versus Team Finem. Both are 12-1 in their groups. I'm Llama Down Under, joined by Scansor. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Hyped, been watching Dota.
Clearly he's dead. Oops.
Hello?
It's not good.
Can you hear me?
Scant, I can't hear you. It appears that you were locally muted. I will let you sort that out. He'll be talking with us shortly. But as I was saying, both of these teams are tied in the European groups, and whoever wins this match gets in because they're both 12-1. So it'll be really interesting to see how it goes now. Both teams have had a couple of forfeit wins, and that definitely is something that you could say, you know, maybe they haven't had to play everyone, but I do think this is one of the hottest challenges Finem has had so far in the group stages. And in fact, I believe we'll be hearing Scant right now. How you doing? That's me. Oh, yeah, that was on me, totally.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Been watching Dota bits, having a lot of fun, but excited about this too. It's, as you said, both of them 12-1, and the only game that Liquid lost, the only game that Finem lost was to Liquid. I'm not sure who the team is that beat Liquid in a best of one. Do you know?
I want to say it was London Conspiracy, but I'm not 100% sure. It was the game where they ran. I think it was the Support Legion Commander game.
But okay, yeah, I actually remember seeing that. They did one of those at the Shanghai Major and lost as well.
It's something they've been trying, hasn't been working.
It's all of those games, all the other WePlay games, I think, were before the major. Is that right? This is like...
Yes, this is the, I mean, for Liquid, this is the one after the major. They've had one other game as well against, I think it was also against London Conspiracy, which of course they won. I want to say it was yesterday.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, it's a big deal because if this game was happening before the major, I'd probably say Finem are underrated. They're really, really good. They could definitely win. Liquid did really, really well at the major. They looked like, you know, new Liquid, very emboldened by the impact of the two coaches they had. And I mean, I don't know, does that, you know, do they change back to the Liquid we saw before, which was still really strong, but definitely room to be beaten? The Liquid who performed at the Shanghai Major, I think Finem struggle against, but the Liquid before, I don't know. At the same time, Finem could just up their game. This is kind of like the spirit of what's happening in Dota 2 right now. Everyone is just upping their game, and Finem is a team that already have upped their game to a certain point to get to where they are in this group stage. And they're the ones that nature's prophets, if we just look at the draft, which this is kind of like the hero to talk about in the current meta. It's the hero that usually gets banned when it goes through. Probably the team that lets it through has a plan for it. Team Liquid's plan this game looks like it was the bounty hunter. Beastmaster helps there too. But sometimes the teams, even the teams that have plans to deal with the Nature's Prophet, just lose against it. So that's a big advantage Finem have at the start of the draft.
10 seconds.
I think it's also really important to mention, though, even though Finem, Skylark, very, very comfortable on that Nature's Prophet, for Liquid, this Death Prophet for Fodder, and now the AM for Matumba Man, these are some heroes they love to have. Whoa!
Yeah, and even Mind Control's Beastmaster became quite a big deal at the Shanghai Major. He played exceptionally on that hero, and Mind Control is a player in Liquid that a lot of people thought was like a weak link, I think, at some point, but at the Major he was fantastic. He was probably one of their stronger players. But yeah, Drow, a face that we've started to see a lot more often recently, especially in the last couple of weeks. And doing particularly well, I want to say, when combined with heroes like Nature's Prophets. I know EG did lose a game against MVP just about an hour ago with that combination, but There's also the Queen of Pena, which goes really well together. If you look at like the C teams, the Southeast Asian teams that were running draw strategies like TNC for a long time, the draw, Nature's Prophet, and Queen of Pena is very common tri-core there, and it's really really good against the anti-mage actually to have that kind of tri-core because their plan is going to be to kill 6 towers, all the tier 1s and all the tier 2s. Before the anti-mage even finishes Battle 3, or maybe like around the time he finishes Battle 3. If they're hitting their timings, the anti-mage could be played completely out of the game.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting as well that Team Liquid does run this with an AM. Obviously, Beastmaster and Death Prophet can buff that up, but Beastmaster and Death Prophet, normally heroes who will run with more of a pushing lineup. Also something to note, Enchantress still not banned. I'm not sure whether you'd really find room for her on either team, but she is someone who sometimes comes out. She could be buffed up by this drow. The support Enchantress isn't awful by any means, although the offlane Enchantress is a bit more favored. So
I think Finem should pick Roadbreaker. I think it's it's nice to have like a tanky strength melee hero in the draw strategy just to frontline. And Spiritbreaker is particularly good against both Bounty Hunter and Anti-Mage. If Bounty Hunter tries to harass someone, you've got that dust, you just, okay, well, they go for the Undying, which performs a similar kind of role. The reason I like the Spiritbreaker is because it's good at actually shutting down the Anti-Mage when it's trying to farm, and good at the Bounty Hunter when it's trying to harass you. The Undying is much more of a sort of direct approach of, we're going to group up, and in the group up situation, it's much, much stronger. So I guess they go for that direct approach, and Liquid go back to the Phoenix right before that as their last pick, which was the Jerax special at the Shanghai Major. It's a funny thing, that hero actually, that's the Chinese invented support, well, they didn't invent support Phoenix, that was a thing a long time ago, but the Sunray support Phoenix came out of Chinese pubs, and Liquid went to China, learned this from the Chinese pubs, and then became the experts in doing it, to the point that they did it better than any of the Chinese teams. So,
also,
10 seconds.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen, but Phoenix has been getting banned a lot in the West, despite, as you pointed out, like, it's very much something that was developed in China. It's not something all of the Western teams have experience with, but they've all seen how powerful it can be, and it's been banned a whole bunch so far in Western games.
It's it's something, if you look at the tooltip, if you actually read how Sunray works, it's quite difficult. It's easy to read it and not really figure how the damage scales. You have to really be careful. I remember when I was in Shanghai, there was, I think, a few days into the tournament, after seeing many Phoenixes, we'd all been discussing, like, what's up with this Phoenix, why did Liquid keep forcing support Phoenix? And a few days into the tournament, Syndran on the bat home just points out to all of us, guys, you realize how the damage works. It actually, like, incrementally increases. So the percentage, if the Sunray is on someone for the full duration from start to finish, you've dealt them something absurd like 70% of their max HP. I'm not sure what the exact percentage is, but you don't get it if you look very quickly. If you glance at the skill, it says 6% health cost per second, and then damage per second it says base damage per second 15, 20, whatever. Max damage, it's got there, 5%. Now you'd think 5% over 6 seconds, that would be 30%, but it's actually a lot more than that because of the way it increases on itself. The percentage actually goes up, and I think that's something that's quite important to understand about the like sheer damage output of this hero that I think can just be underestimated. And so people for a very long time, before seeing that this was being spammed in Chinese pubs the way it was, didn't actually understand entirely just how crazy strong that spell is.
For me, what's going to be the big question in this match is just whether Finem can play on the level that they need to beat out Liquid. We've also already got fun Greek spam. By the way, shout out to all of the people watching. I know most of the people watching are probably rooting for Finem to win, since there's another big game going on right now with our Korean overlords, but I know most of you who are watching are fans of Finem, so good luck with that. And I'm just interested to see whether, as you said, Finem can get the push out early enough, and they really do need to win their lanes, which is not an easy task against Liquid.
I just thought of something which is totally irrelevant, but I'm going to mention it anyway. In the last week, I've played a ranked game on Madara's side, and I played a separate game on Mind Control side, and I lost both of them. But interestingly enough, in the game when I was playing with Madara, he was playing Drow, and it did look like it was a hero that he was trying to deliberately practice. So I don't know if it's like particularly for this game, or if it's just because every team knows the moment that Drow's, Drow strategies are something you need to be able to do. But as playing the hero, he seemed to know exactly what to do. He played exceptionally well. I mean, this is an 8k MMR player right there. And on that basis, I feel like a Drow strategy, if your Drow player knows what to do, in some ways is not that difficult to execute, and they will be able to play at the level they need to. Kuro is going for the courier snipe, and this
is it really? Okay, I was gonna say, okay, he's gonna get it too. I can't believe this is happening. This is not something that should happen at this level of play, but it has been a while since Bounty Hunter was picked every game, and sometimes teams just forget.
Yeah, it's funny, like, I think every second time I see a Bounty Hunter in a pro game, there's a courier snipe, actually, and it's like what you say. People should expect... Yeah, people should expect it, but at the same time, it's like, exactly the strength of the hero is almost that, like, they might have even discussed it and in some way expected it, but the Dying kind of stood there initially, thought maybe that's a deterrent. They decided, okay, the bounty's probably over there somewhere else, and I don't know, it's just a hero that consistently, even when teams do expect the career snipe, it still gets the occasional one anyway.
Now, Skylark's getting quite a bit out of this top lane, hasn't really been harassed on. Matamaman has no support since the Phoenix dove over to the mid trying to harass, and actually this Phoenix is just going to pull. So Matamaman is still getting something out of this lane, but we're probably, by the looks of it, we're going to see a very formed Skylark going into the mid game.
Yeah, which seems pretty good for Finem. I think they'll definitely be happy with that. I'm interested in Kuro's movements. It's not just the career snipe. He started with boots. He didn't start with Orb of Venom, which is usually what we see on a Bounty Hunter. And obviously the fact that Jerax is willing to buy all the support means that he can start with the boots. But a lot of Bounty Hunters, I think, even with the gold to start with boots, would choose to start the Orb of Venom. It gives you more potential to actually threaten kills and harass. The boots makes you more mobile, more like you can be in lots of different lanes. You can have a shorter time between being spotted at the bot lane, at the line, and then suddenly at the mid lane.
Ooh. Okay, not quite able to steal that arcane rune. I'm also interested in Kuroki's movements. Obviously, he's already gotten a lot just getting the courier snipe, but it does feel like he needs to get kill involvements, needs those levels. So we'll see whether he'll hang bottom, soak some experience, or whether he'll keep trying to make it work. Because this mid lane, not one that I think Kuro can kill unless Thug makes a big mistake.
Yeah, that's almost certainly a big part of the Queen of Pain pick there, because if we recall, they started with the Nature's Prophet pick and the Bounty Hunter was immediately the response. Queen of Pain came after as like, okay, well this is the way we're going to make sure that your Bounty Hunter sort of neutralized, and in some sense that, I think that makes the boots start even more questionable, although boots definitely helped to snipe the courier, which he did do, and he's gone back for the Orb of Venom now, so the courier is going to become an extremely big nuisance for the Lion to deal with. The only thing helping the Lion to handle courier at all is the very well placed sentry ward that's going to show him heading into the jungle each time.
Now, we haven't talked about it too much beyond the fact that Skylark will come out of this lane very formed. Anti-Mage does have 6 CS. This is not usually the start Matumbaman has. And that's another thing I'm wondering. He's obviously very good at farming. I haven't seen too many games where he's been forced to catch up.
Yeah, it's not usually the case, that's true. He normally gets the game that he wants, but it's actually quite difficult for Liquid to adapt in any way that would change that right now, because with only the Phoenix there to support him, they can't contest the lane. I think that even if the Bounty Hunter were to come back up here, all three of them together, they probably struggle to deal with this dual lane. I think that's... I mean, I was talking at the end of the draft about how they take the Undying and not the Spirit Breaker for the more direct approach grouping up, but Undying actually has this effect on the lane stage, which... If you go back to a patch or two, there'll be no shortage of VODs of teams running Undying +1 as the aggressive dual lane, exactly for this purpose, to just like put that pressure on the safe lane farm and make it very difficult for them to get their early lane farm.
It's suddenly working here. Oh, Falter actually going to have folks TP in onto him. He's immediately using the Spirit Type, and I'm not quite sure what Skylark was doing there. He may just get brought down. They're slowing him. They now have the Icarus Dive over the top, and that will be a first blood. Thug has already used... Oh no, has another blink at the ready. Could get out of this one. We've got Spartan coming in, has the Tombstone, but okay, they should be able to kill off Jerax, getting him for free. Fodder is still chasing with that haste rune, and now here comes in Kuroki. So Spartan should be going down. One more auto attack. He manages to get off the decay. He pops the one charge and the heal. Fodder's coming in though. Can they do anything about Fodder? They drop the Tombstone. They should be able to get Fodder here. A really nice play coming out there, and Thug unable to chase more onto Kuro. That was not what I was expecting there.
It's well played by everyone involved, and you were asking a question like, are Finem gonna play at the level of Liquid, and I think so far so good. Like, ask questions maybe about the career being sniped, but like I said, honestly I see that happening to just about any team at some point in time, and I think just the small interplays like suggest that I don't think there's any kind of like ad Finem of Liquid in their head. They're scared of them. They're gonna give them too much respect. They're playing the game at the same level as Liquid, and actually they're starting off very much ahead.
Yeah, they have a better start on their carry. Now, Drow versus anti-mage, this is also something we haven't talked on too much, but obviously AM has a nice easy way to get up in Drow's face. Do you think that her silence will be enough to protect her here against the AM, or does she even need to worry? Because Matombaman may choose not to fight until he's got quite a bit more farm.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's close to irrelevant. Well, they're gonna try and kill her Sentry Ward, just spot him out, and that's gonna be the Gust and the Beastmaster, and with the TPM, Kura's dead.
They might even get mind control here. He's incredibly tanky. Maybe next time. Okay, what a sprout. Okay, he still goes down to the ball, but they will manage to find the kill there. Almost saving his life with that sprout from Skylock. That was really impressive.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, you're right, Anti-Mage can jump onto Drow, that's really good for Anti-Mage, but as far as I'm concerned, this game is kind of like, if ad Finem win in their own timing windows, like there's times where they peak with their Drow strategy to like group up and push, they need to win in those windows, and if they don't, if the game gets past those windows, I think they're going to lose regardless of if like Anti-Mage is going to blink on Drow in a fight. I think that Liquid's draft is just going to look a lot stronger unless they're already sort of 20 or 30k gold behind, the game starts going late, Liquid's draft is just going to outclass ad Finim's draft. But the thing for Liquid to worry about, as I said during the draft, is why Drow is good against anti-mage, is that a draw strategy is one of the few strategies that quite consistently can end the game before anti-mage even has Manta style, when anti-mage is like on Battle Fury and trying to get to that next item.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Madara will reveal to us soon exactly how he wants to build his Drow, whether he's going a lot of Wraith Bands. Up on top, actually, Jerax finally more stably sitting there with Matombaman, helping him get some CS. So he's done a really good job of catching up, actually.
Yeah, he's gotten basically all the creeps. As soon as the Undying wasn't in the lane, I think he's gotten every single creep.
Down on bottom, we have a Tombstone drop. Madara gonna get healed up here, but in comes the Phoenix, a nice gust getting them out of the way, but Madara is still in a lot of trouble, and it's looking like he will burn to the ground. Tombstone already being brought down, and suddenly there are 4 in this bottom lane. Maybe next time goes for the TP away. So Spartan will fall here. There's a lot around him. Is he... Okay. I for sure was not expecting him to just walk it off, and he's even thinking about going back in.
Yeah, he's considering. Yeah, he's gonna sneak into the shop for his boots. Should be just about fine getting them. But this is still, I mean, it's still an overall win for Liquid, even though they rotated more heroes in. And exactly what we were talking about before, how anti-mage can free farm and get all those creeps back up now that Undying's gone. So I sort of feel like ad Finem want the Undying to be making things happen, making kills, not being on the receiving end of kills. Because he could have just stayed at that top lane longer and kept the anti-mage's farm down for longer, and leaving the lane was a deliberate decision that we want to apply pressure to the map elsewhere.
Meanwhile, on top lane, Skylock finally receiving some pressure. He's doing well when it comes to CS, but he's not actually top of the net worth chart. And Fodder as well. Haven't talked about him too much. He's just doing his standard, mostly sticking mid, but he'll drop that exorcism, get a push out, and this could do some heavy damage to the mid tower.
Yeah, it's interesting also, I noticed Jerax is at the moment maxing Fire Spirits ahead of Sunray, although usually I think he does go 1-2-2. So I'm just quite interested to see when he gets level 5 if he's going to be 1-3-1.
Okay, Sonic Wave comes out and Doug just manages to pick off Fodder, while at the same time they're poking away at that bottom tower. That was...
Fodder tanked the tower just a little bit too much, and I think Thug had actually figured out exactly the damage output he has, and he was like watching Fodder's HP, and as soon as he took that last tower, he was like, okay, got it.
Yeah, Thug also had the end of a DD and the Drow Aura, of course, so your damage threshold much lower for Thug to burst you.
Absolutely. And okay, Jerax does just go for the regular 1-2-2. I was wondering if he'd max the spirits first, because there's a lot of right click coming out, but you don't really need to, because in terms of the slow, it's still pretty relevant even from early levels. While ad Finem are pushing bot lane, they took the tier 1, they look like they might want to get the tier 2 as well, and this is, I guess they're starting to hit their timing, they're starting to recognize, you know, we can get a lot done without Drow Ranger. Anti-Mage is still farming, Bounty Hunter is not level 6 yet, Phoenix is not level 6 yet, so it takes a pretty big commitment from Liquid to contest them, and Speaking of that, Liquid actually going for this big commitment.
They're walking in for it. There's going to be the Icarus dive in, as you talked about. No 6 yet. The Tombstone has been dropped, but the Spirit Siphon onto 2. Fodder getting healed back up a lot. The Tombstone still standing there. Madara, he has been isolated. The heal, but it won't be enough. He's taking a lot of damage. The Tombstone is poking away at them, but with 2 already gone on Finem. The Tombstone, no, just jump in with the Scream. She should be able to get 2. Maybe she can find 3. The finger comes out, finishes off Mind Control, and what looked to be a disaster may still be pretty even. Kuro going to just wander away. How long on his invis? He has the Shadow Walk up. Thug doesn't have Scream for a while. He is just TPing in it, and she cannot Scream in time. So Thug will not be able to kill Kuro, but that fight ends up being even.
And by the way, that's a very minor thing, but some people might not know. You can, most windwalking abilities you can like use once you're TPing. And if you hadn't done that, he would have definitely died. Just the right clicks. Like you can start channeling your TP and then press the windwalk and it doesn't break the channeling.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you do it fast enough, but otherwise should be able to reliably get it off. I have to say, really good engagements by Thug. This is the second time he's capitalized on what looked like a bit of a lost opportunity, and maybe they'll do it again. Thug about to have the Sonic Wave back up. It is in fact back up. Maybe next time. Looking for that Hex or a stun. Anything. There he goes. Opens with the Hex onto Mind Control. Gonna throw out the stun next. Undying gonna come in. Nope. Just walking up. Thought maybe he'd throw out a Decay. And as you said, they're grouping to push already on Finem.
Yeah, Thug was a little bit odd. They're actually gonna go for kill in the mid lane, maybe on Fada. That's the TP from the Piranha's one.
Again, Fada goes down.
I mean, DP is a hero that's actually really squishy to this high burst kind of approach early on in the game, and like it's gonna be a while before he's got an item that makes him more tanky. So Fada's gonna have a difficult time, I think, going forward.
Also, really good rotations from Finem. They're getting themselves a little bit of a lead. This is something one team fight could turn around. And also, you have to account for Tower Gold. We do have TPs coming in. They do have the track on the Bounty Hunter, and now the egg on the Phoenix. So some well-placed Fire Spirits could mean a big egg explosion and a huge win for Liquid. And look at that Shuriken! Doing so much damage as it bounces around Mind Control, looking for someone to Primal Roar on. Phoenix coming in from the sidelines. They're actually just going to take a moment to D-ward. And that should be the end of the engagement.
What I really liked before Thug TP'd mid and they killed Fada, we were talking about how they were considering going for a play at the bot lane, and Thug didn't want to blink in and ends up going mid, and I think that's super important in this game. Queen of Pain always have to like recognize that once you blink forward, you're like the squishiest hero in the world. It's your blink that makes you survivable and difficult to kill. So if you use the blink offensively and it doesn't work out, you don't burst the person down, you don't control the fight properly, you say you get roared and someone else TPs in, suddenly you're just dead. So I think it's as much like commendable part of Queen of Pain player to not blink at bad times as it is to make the kills when you make them, and it's something to actually watch in a good Queen of Pain when there's that hesitance, when there's that, okay, I'm not actually sure about this, I'm not going to go in. I think that's also a very good sign of a top Queen of Pain player.
Thug getting very close to that Orchid, which will hopefully help with the AM, who has been sitting now up here uncontested farming. He's going to finish the treads off first, and it looks, oh, never mind, we have an engagement. They're going in onto Fodder, but the Tombstone and the egg are dropped, so this is a bit awkward. Tombstone probably going to zone away anyone. Trax is coming out. No, they're going in onto Fodder again. As you talked about, DPC is so easy to burst down right now. Another auto attack. Trees will help finish her off. That's Fodder's, what, fifth death?
They're just going to walk into rush, even with track on them. They just feel comfortable doing this.
Yeah. And AM, as we were mentioning, he does not have the Battle Fury yet, and even if he did, kind of need the Manta afterwards to get anything done.
Yep, and they know the egg is down, they know that there's no DP. It's going to be all on the Beastmaster if there's a contest here, so we'll see what he can get done.
Yeah, Mind Control trying to get in position. Kuro also doing a good job of tracking people up. Madara is pounding away at that Roche. They may actually want to help him. No. Oh, okay, they're throwing in this Fire Spirits, and actually, Thug TPing away. They cannot finish this, and if they can't, then DP could just come in with that that ult and get it. There it is. The Primal Roar onto the spot, and he will fall. Madara in the danger zone as well, trying to haste away. Maybe next time going for the run away. Is he going to be able to find a spot to TP? It looks like he will, but that Aegis, I think, going the way of Liquid.
Yeah, probably, and that's, I mean, even if they don't get it now, that's a huge mistake. I think the first very big mistake from Finem this game is they were way too casual about, oh, we'll just easily take rush and there won't be an issue here. and it ends up being contested. They end up not being quick enough, and they're gonna try go back.
Oh, they're gonna try for it. They do have a Sonic Wave, but they are both silenced up right now. The Roche getting incredibly low. Madar, you're gonna just have to drop that bad boy if you want to, but no, the Aegis is gonna go down. It goes out on the AM. The Sonic Wave comes through, kills off Mind Control, but here is AM ready to fight. Madar in the hot seat, taking a lot of damage. He's blown up with that ult. AM will burn the first life, and they manage to use the finger to kill off the Bounty Hunter, while Fodder still exercising, but he's getting very low. The auto attacks will have him. That was not the fight for Liquid, and now the Egg, they should easily be able to auto attack this down, and they do.
Yeah, okay, so it's funny because both teams take a turn to make a mistake of being overconfident with taking down the rush, and even though Liquid do get the rush, it's absolutely not worth it. I mean, you can, in a way, you can see it as taking the rush denies the Finem from getting the rush and the Aegis, so there's that extra value. But the fact that they lose the Aegis and all the other heroes, I think it still works out in Finem's favor overall. And the play for Liquid now is going to be, I actually don't know how to get the DP into this game. The DP is a really tough hero to fight from behind with, and maybe with a bunch of track kills just with the spam, but really the play for me is, it's about the Beastmaster, about the Phoenix, those heroes sort of keeping them in while the anti-mage gets farmed. And even if the DP is behind, if the anti-mage gets farmed enough, they're still going to look good. But Finem are not going to wait. They're not going to like sit around and give Liquid time. They're going to just keep putting pressure on and forcing Liquid to respond over and over and over.
They do have to be a little bit careful about this, of course. Every time that they push, they're all grouped up, not getting the experience in the palm of the game, is getting separately in those shuriken bounces. When 4 of you are tracked, you need a mech or something. Sunray now coming through as well to help with the deep push. Phoenix has to be careful. Does Icarus dive away? There's the Shadow Strike coming out now, but Jarek's going for the TP out. Hex off in time, and they're going to get the kill on the Phoenix. Now maybe they can siege this tower, but while they're doing this, AM also working on their tier 2. Oh, Finem have to be careful. Oh, yeah, and the tombstone drop behind the tower. This should just be a zoning tombstone. Glyph is thrown out by Liquid though. Maybe a little early.
It's super important that they get the kill on the Phoenix. I do feel like the trade is actually not that good for them otherwise. Anti-Mage got a lot of time farming and pushing. Beastmaster did too on the other side, and it's actually a reasonable trade for Liquid, barring the fact that the Phoenix does go down as well. But even then, the Phoenix is not that big of a kill, so I think Liquid, all things considered, will be perfectly fine with the trade that just happened.
Yeah, I have to say I'm really impressed with Finem. They're running a lineup that needs them to drive the pace of the game, and I do think they've been doing a good job of it. I would just be wary that AM isn't getting out of control, because they do have a lot of big int bombs in Thug on that Quap, and of course, Skylock on the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, I do think Finem like set the pace of the game right now. They do kind of control where things are happening. Well, there's gonna be this task.
Okay, they managed to get the deny off, and nothing found there for Liquid.
Yeah, the TP and the TP cancel, and eventually the blink. But even though I think Finem are setting the pace and kind of controlling the tempo right now, deciding where fights will happen and how the movement goes, there's still a concern, which is that Liquid just needs to turn a corner, and if they do, it's almost like there's no turning back. If Liquid get to that stage in the game where it's like, okay, your window's kind of dried up, Finem, our anti-mage is now strong, Manta Star's online, maybe one other item after that is online. At that point, the game becomes very, very difficult for Finem. And it looks good that they keep getting these pickups on like heroes like Phoenix, but I actually think that that's not a big enough deal. Like, they need to be killing more towers. There's way too many other towers still up on the side of Liquid to get Finem.
Kuro gonna get dusted up and silenced. They should have more than enough damage to bring him down. He pops that mech, still dusted though, so the auto attacks will come through. I agree with you, and I also think you need to be wary against Liquid. We mentioned this Death Prophet needs a lot of help to get back into the game, but Fodder is a guy that we've seen have he has had more than enough success from behind. He knows how to play solidly, and he will just keep trying to get bomb. He might add more deaths to his head, but he'll figure it out.
Mind Control has Necro 3 on Beastmaster, pretty good timing, and that's also another big deal because if he's gonna split push lane on his own, he can like push really quickly. It's not, I mean, obviously it's not the same as a Drow Ranger with 4 ranged arrows, but it's still pretty good. So the Necros in terms of fights are good, but the Necros also just in terms of like when he's pushing, he's a relevant threat on his own, just like the Anti-Mage, the Battle Fury, and it makes it that much easier for Liquid to do the avoid taking you on 5v5 but still get good value in trades game.
Marquardt did get up an early awkward. AM is only about 1,000 gold away from having that Monta style. So he no longer has to worry about it. We've got a Sunray going out onto Skylark, Primal Roar as well, and Nature's Prophet will be down for the count.
Yeah, and this is the unfortunate thing about the dynamic in the game right now, that the occasional pick-off on a single hero for Liquid is actually very significant in backing the trend that Advenom have of like sort of having the momentum, being ahead and threatening to take down objectives. Whereas the occasional kill that Advenom gets on a Liquid hero, especially if it's basically anyone but the anti-mage, actually isn't worth that much, doesn't really contribute a whole lot to affecting the dynamic of the game.
For Advenom, it's definitely, I think, a harder game. As we've talked about, they kind of have an all-in strategy. They're going to go to poke at bottom tower, but Phoenix is coming in under the guise of dust. I'm not sure if Phoenix is hoping to set something up. You know, it doesn't look like it. Are they? Sorry, smoke. Oh, okay, they might be smoked elsewhere. Fodder coming on over. Maybe next time going to take quite a bit of damage, and now in comes the AM, going for the blink forwards. The stun not going to be able to get him. And, quick pick on that Lion again.
Yeah, I think what you'll see is Advenom are going to start going for BKBs in their cores, and I think when they get a bunch of BKBs, they're going to try to just force high ground.
Oh, the silence comes out though. Exorcism popped as well. Advenom are in a decent spot to all just run away, so Fodder may have to use that as a farming exorcism. No, he's running around to try to cut them off. The Tombstone's gonna be dropped way away from the rest of the team. AM jumping in, Madara in a lot of trouble. He needs to be able to throw out that silence, but it missed the first time, and here it comes. There might just be an ult with his name on it. The auto attack from AM more than enough. Thug now still running away, will be able to blink up and get out of that one, but at the same time they will lose the Undying on the back lines, and now the Tombstone bounty also going into Liquid's pocket.
Yeah, and I can't help but think that this is that corner I was talking about. This is Liquid turning that corner, and the game almost immediately becomes very difficult for Advenom from here, because the Manta gets picked up and immediately Liquid use it. I mean, actually, he didn't have to use it there, but just having it meant that they wouldn't be able to deal with him when he blinked in.
Oh, okay,
They
he's just gonna monitor away.
Exactly, it's now very difficult for them to slow the progression of Liquid's plan. And I still think that they're not quite at a position at Finem where they can sort of complete their plan. They need some BKBs to come out their cores, they need the Lion to complete a Blink Dagger, and they need these things to happen now, like in the next couple of minutes, because they are running out of time.
Yeah, I think it is very difficult if you're in Advenom's position, because their lineup is so all-in. Can they try to smoke by... Oh, quick pick on the Phoenix by maybe next time. He's been doing a good job of getting these kill involvements. And he's about to have a Blink Dagger because of that. Can they smoke here if you're Advenom? Try to find some pickups and transfer that into a push, because they'll have a smoke coming up to cooldown.
Yeah, would be great if they could do that, especially if they could kill the Anti-Mage or the Beastmaster. But speaking of Beastmaster, he's just taking out their tier 2 bottom, and this is the kind of position you get into now where Advenom can't afford to send people down bots to defend that tower, and I think that Mind Control just knows that, so he just gets the tower, he's going to keep putting pressure, and Advenom, the way that they're going to win the game, they can't afford to keep going back to stop the split push, and they can sense that Liquid are turning the corner, so they feel like...
Oh, there's gonna be a jump onto Fodder. They've also dropped the Tombstone, but in comes AM. He has a big bomb in. Maybe next time he manages to not go down, but now there's an egg as well. Sonic Wave comes on through. Still nobody's attacking the egg. Madara maybe gonna bring it down. They do manage to pop that thing. Kuro going on Madara now, though, who is silenced up, trying to get out of this one. Fodder Exorcism, but they immediately bring him down, and now Matumba Man standing there fighting, pushed away by the silence. They need to get him further away from Madara, but unable to, and it looks like Advenom may end up losing everyone, despite all those zombies. And Matumba Man getting 4 of those kills, suddenly 3k gold richer.
Yeah, there was a little bit of uncertainty at the start of that fight.
And the dieback comes out of the Nature's Prophet, who bought back to try and stop Mind Control, who just knocks him down.
Yeah, there was a little bit of uncertainty in that fight at the beginning. If you notice that they started going at Fata, Fata uses himself, and then Anti-Mage arrives, and Matumbaman's like, okay guys, deal with me. Thug turns around and uses the Sonic Wave on the Anti-Mage. Then they're going on the Phoenix. And so they, you know, like there wasn't that much, they eventually killed Fata, but they tried to focus him down, he ended up doing a whole lot. The Phoenix is effective even though it dies, the Anti-Mage is very effective, kills everyone, gets a lot of gold. And the Beastmaster, who doesn't even have to come to the fight, kills a tier 2, a base tower, and a Nature's Prophet. So it's really Liquid are gaining a lot, and it's very easy if you look at the gold graph. it's even the XP graph, but especially the gold graph. The whole game up until a couple of minutes ago, it was very much Finem favored, but not that much. But you did sense that they had a window, and Liquid turned the corner and just downhill traffic immediately since then. Very steep downhill traffic.
For Finem, they are starting to get those BKBs up. They have recognized the need for a mech. Nature's Prophet rocking one of those. Rao about 500 or 600 gold away from her BKB. But as Aegis goes into the hands of Matumbaman, oh, we have a blink towards Primal Roar coming out. Thug stunned up here, gonna have to be brought down before he has time to turn and blink. And now there's a silence out Madara. They may just ult to stop this TP. Yes, they do. Madara falls. Maybe next time manages to stun on 3, but with no backup, it's looking like he will also be the next to fall. And as you said, Finem just falling apart as Liquid's lineup comes online.
Yeah, it's just feeling like it's a bit too late for them now. They've lost their opportunity, and it must be said about Liquid that they did very, very well to make the most of doing the split game early on. It takes actually a strong team to do it. They made it look easy, but when you're being stared down by this draft strategy that groups up and pushes and you can't deal with the push, a lot of teams kind of panic and try to defend the push, fail to defend it, all die, and then just get racked. Liquid very deliberately spent a sort of 10-minute period of this game completely dodging Finem and just getting split value, and they got a lot of split value. And I think that's what ends up putting them in a position to turn this game around.
Also, Liquid doing a really good job of recognizing they still can push. I'm gonna get down a tier 2 despite being very up in Finem space. They're rocking the Exorcism finally, didn't use it earlier. We're gonna see a blink forwards by Matumbaman, a silence going out into a number of Finem, but this is just zoning. They don't need to actually fight them on Liquid. They can just have Exorcism take care of the tower. Madara standing there trying to do what he can, but Matumbaman jumps directly on top of him. The Hex gonna come out for maybe next time, but now it's silence up on most of their team members, the Sonic Wave and the Finger, but that's just the Aegis. And now there'll be a new Matumbaman. Primal Roar goes out onto Thug. BKB won't save you from this one. Egg on the backline, easily protected by Liquid. They're gonna blow the ult onto Skylark. He'll blow up and now the spot next to follow. And while all of this is happening, Spotter working on the racks. They will be found on Matumbaman, but nope. He just monitors it off and walks away. 2 racks down. The only thing standing in the way of Mega Creeps being this tower.
Yeah, I mean, the Bounty Hunter is richer than the Drow Ranger. So that's when I kind of know. That's I would actually establish as a first principle at this point in any professional Dota game, when a Bounty Hunter gets richer than a Drow Ranger at this stage of the game, then the game's probably over, and they're calling GG, and it's a sad day for Finem fans, but they got this far, they got second, they almost made it to the LAN, and yeah, maybe next season, maybe next time. So that's a terrible joke.
I think it's also really impressive how far they came. This group wasn't easy by any means. There were some other really good teams, and the fact that they went 12-1 or 12-2 is still really commendable. Their only losses being to Liquid, the team who's going to qualify for the LAN. Either way, folks, Liquid